It's no secret that cars have been getting bigger and bigger for the last 40 years. My grandpa used to have a 2000 Ford Ranger. It was considered a compact truck back then, and it felt like it. You look at the new Ranger now, and that thing's big. The 2000 Ranger XLT regular cab had a length of 187 inches, whereas the 2021 Ranger is around 210 and is a full 8 inches wider and 6 inches taller than my grandpa's. That might not seem like a lot, but that's only over one generation. You look back at Rangers from the early 1980s, and they seem like toys in comparison. Are cars and trucks going to keep getting bigger? Big ol' thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring another episode of Wheelhouse. I know this is a difficult thing to talk about, and because of that, it seems nobody else is. So I'm gonna bite the awkward bullet and just tell you, you gotta take care of your downstairs.
Nolan, we've heard more than enough about balls. When will it stop?
I'm just saying, man, grooming, trimming, manicuring, maintaining, whatever you wanna call it, Manscaped makes it easy for you to feel less weird about it and safely take care of your down there. The new Manscaped Crop Care Kit comes with the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and the Crop Reviver Ball Toner and the Crop Cleanser Hair and Body Wash, which I use every day, I really like it. And my favorite, the Crop Mops Single Package Hygiene Wipes. These bad boys are perfect after a long day in the sun, and let me tell you, they're quite refreshing. I really like all the Manscaped products, and guess what? I think you will too. Simply go to manscaped.com/donut and you'll get 20% off and free shipping to the US, Canada, Australia, and the UK. Go check it out, guys. Your balls will thank you, I guarantee it. Now let's get back to the show. There are a lot of different reasons why cars have gotten so bloated, but one of the main reasons is safety. Not very sexy, I know, but stay with me. Cars have gotten significantly faster in the last couple decades, and the faster they become, the safer they need to be as well. We take modern safety features for granted because most of the time it's out of sight and we're not worrying about it. But all those safety features need real estate. Crumple zones, airbags, safety cells, it all adds up in the size of the vehicle. Back in the day, safety technology was relatively primitive. Hell, it took more than 50 years for seatbelts to become commonplace. Cars were little more than sheet metal boxes. Nowadays, there are much stricter regulations when it comes to keeping the driver safe in the event of an impact. Cars are divided up into sections, some that are supposed to collapse, called crumple zones, and sections that are supposed to stay intact, called safety cells. But the safety cell itself doesn't do too much to slow down someone in the event of a crash. And for that, car manufacturers rely on a gang of airbags. Once it's packed in, an airbag doesn't take up that much room. But door-mounted and front-facing airbags require 10 inches of deployment distance from the body. So all of that has to be accounted for when designing the cabin. And it's one of the specific reasons that cars have gotten wider. A front impact airbag for both the driver and front passenger is required in all modern cars. However, 6 airbags is the standard. The BMW 5, 6, and 7 series offer up to 12 airbags, and automakers are following suit to include knee, head, and pelvic protection systems. Pelvic airbags sounds like something I could have used in high school when people thought it was fun to give a little nut check. Yeah, they're there. And yeah, now I have a stomachache for 10 minutes. Thanks. Even things like door panels have to be thicker to accommodate airbags and extra enforcement that wasn't there 30 years ago. But it's not just safety equipment that takes up space, it's also new technology. Another reason cars are bigger and why it costs so dang much to do relatively minor repairs on stuff like doors and bumpers is because nowadays, those parts of the car are packed with a ton of new tech that wasn't in them a few decades ago. Door panels are just filled with Zunes. Where'd they go? Why can't you buy a Zune? It's because all the manufacturers are dumping them in their body panels. Cameras, sensors, and housings for all that takes up quite a bit of space in whatever part of the car it's in. Engineers do a great job making it as low profile as they can, but they can only do so much. Accident avoidance systems, braking assist, forward collision warnings, automatic emergency braking, pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, you get it. There's a lot. Each one of these safety systems has a sensor, maybe even multiple sensors. Everything is being regulated by a computer. The size of these sensors range anywhere between 1 and 5 inches, which again, 1 or 10 doesn't take up that much room, but there are at least 100 sensors in a car. This number will continue to grow as more features are added. Features that we haven't even thought of yet, like Taco Bell proximity sensors. How close am I to my next Baja Blast? This is critical information I need to know while I'm driving on the I-5. Also, where's the closest bathroom? Those are all features that made cars like the Honda Civic go from being one of the smallest cars on the road to being virtually indistinguishable from other sedans and coupes. When the Honda Civic came to the United States in 1973, its styling was considered cute and quirky, like me. The slogan was, "It'll get you where you're going." One of the slogans for Honda's 2020 Civic is, quote, "the true definition of luxury, yours." That's not the only thing that has changed about the Civic. It's also 3 feet longer and 1 foot wider. Honda wasn't trying to compete with its domestic counterparts because they knew they were going to be smaller. Americans don't like small cars for some reason. Well, actually, we'll get to that right now. Speaking of room, what has more space and luxury than the sport utility vehicle? Not much. SUVs have been dominating the market for the last 30 years thanks to literal trailblazer models like the Chevy Blazer, Ford Explorer, Jeep Grand Cherokee, Land Rovers. You don't need me to keep listing SUVs. The rise of the SUV fueled competition between car companies to make the biggest, most utilitarian, most capable vehicle out there. The average size of SUVs has gone up significantly since the onset of the first models, and there's a reason for that. At least in America, there is a mentality that bigger is better. Why wouldn't you want a vehicle with 7 seats and 1,000 cubic feet of trunk space? Aside from major cities, lanes are wide and parking is plentiful. If the infrastructure can handle it, why not? Knock yourself out. Sure, you don't have kids, you don't have dogs. Treat yourself. Get an enormous car you don't need. Quick sidebar on infrastructure. When doing research for this, we were comparing the size of roads and we found something interesting. You would think the only thing that would never change is the width of a lane, but that's not true. City planners made lanes wider in order to decrease traffic. Turns out though, the opposite is true. There's research about how wider lanes not only increase traffic, they're more dangerous. Cities like Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and Tokyo with lane widths between 9.2 and 10.6 feet have the lowest crash fatality rates per 100,000 residents. While in cities with wider lanes, the rate of fatalities on road crashes is significantly higher. No joke, there's a concept called road dieting. I'm not sure if that's gonna work in America because everyone has a problem with even the smallest of changes, but it would probably cut down on accidents. Another reason that car manufacturers put effort into making SUVs bigger is because SUVs are the cash cow of their respective lineups. SUVs, along with full-size trucks, have some of the biggest profit margins of any vehicles sold. Car manufacturers can sell luxury, high-end trim levels and charge an extra 20 grand for just a few upgrades, and people will still buy them. The 2021 Lincoln Navigator Black Label is literally $21,000 more expensive than the base model for features like automated running boards and some extra chrome trim. I'm sure I'm generalizing a little bit, but I mean, that's still a lot of money. Compared to the razor-thin profits of a subcompact car, this incentivizes manufacturers to make cars bigger. The other thing is gas. For the consumer, gas prices are less of a concern now than they were a decade ago. The national average for a gallon of gas in the US hasn't topped $3 since 2014. Hybrids and fully electric cars are expensive, at least for now, so you get more car for your dollar with an internal combustion engine, and that feeds right back into the bigger is better mentality. But not to put it all on the consumer, there are other reasons cars continue to get girthier. Compact, subcompact, mid-size truck, light-duty truck. The classification of a car dictates what restrictions and regulations it is subject to, meaning that if you make a small car, it's subject to stricter regulations than a bigger car. So, a smart car, which is classified as a microcar, has to meet stricter fuel efficiency standards than, say, I don't know, a mid-size Honda Accord. One of the reasons that a certain model grows in size is to increase the size of the footprint of the car, specifically the length and width. Why do car companies do this? Well, sometimes it's easier to grow your footprint than to meet new fuel efficiency regulations. Bigger cars, ironically, are held to less strict regulations when it comes to fuel efficiency. It's an inadvertent side effect of a legitimate means of fighting climate change, and car manufacturers use it as a little bit of a loophole. But it feeds into the consumer's needs for something bigger, faster, better, stronger. Do it faster, makes it longer. Car buyers continually demand more power from cars. And as a manufacturer, it's difficult and expensive to develop new technology that, one, meets those power demands, and two, meets fuel efficiency regulations. So it makes sense why cars are getting bigger. But just because the average car is getting bigger doesn't mean the engines are getting bigger. Car companies are pushing the boundaries of how much power can be made with small displacement engines. Turbocharged 3-cylinders are the newest, hottest thing in the internal combustion world. Cars like the BMW i8, Mini Clubman, and sadly the discontinued in the US Ford Fiesta all have powerful 3-bangers. The new Toyota GR Yaris has the most powerful 3-cylinder engine, which makes 257 horsepower and 266 foot-pounds of torque. That's insane. So what does that even mean? Well, it means that we've hit a point where the old adage of there's no replacement for displacement doesn't really ring true anymore, unfortunately. It's more of a matter of personal preference. Smaller cars are becoming more appealing because you can get much more power per pound than those big old honkers. We don't need a gigantic engine bay to house a huge V8 anymore to make a fun car. Plus, there might be a future where a car like the Expedition is powered by a 4-cylinder EcoBoost because it saves weight, it saves money, and there's a good chance that the Expedition won't have to go anywhere but flat public streets. Are cars going to keep getting bigger? It's difficult to say. As long as gas prices stay relatively low and consumers are telling the market they still want to buy big cars, yes, we'll probably see something bigger than the 2021 Ford Expedition come out in the next couple of years, at least in the US. It makes more sense here than it does the rest of the world. Going back to my grandpa's truck from the beginning of this episode, I would love if manufacturers came out with a compact truck that was actually compact. The Ranger, those old Mazda B trucks, the S10, all those early 90s trucks are so cool and perfect for the city. There's certainly a demand for it. So if you're listening, Ford, Mazda, Chevy, Dodge, please make a real compact truck again. Thanks for watching. Be kind. I'll see you next time. Have not seen these yet, so
No.
Boost Creeps hoodie. Who's that handsome boy? Man, what a good looking hoodie. We reworked the logo a little bit. Now it's in yellow, really pops against that black. We added an arm hitch so you can fly that donut flag. I'm gonna rock mine all fall, all winter. Go to donutmedia.com and get you one. They're probably gonna sell out, so I would get it sooner than later.